All right, ready to roll here on a Saturday morning. Thanks to our friends at Insperity. Visit Insperity.com for powerful HR solution with exceptional follow through. You can also get your questions in on X at ESPN 97.5. And we head right over to the guest line and welcome in PGA Tour winner Tom Hoge. Tom was one of the best 30 golfers on the PGA Tour this year, making it to the Tour Championship at East Lake. Tom, thanks for taking some time to join us this morning.
Yeah, good morning, guys.
Tom, did you know that you led the PGA Tour in total birdies this year?
Yeah, I knew I was up there. I told everybody that I do it by volume, but I played a lot of tournaments, so I was up there by default. But you know what? That's kind of always in my game. I like to fire at the pin, so we're going to make some birdies out there.
What aspects of your game has to flourish more when you're leading the PGA Tour in birdies? Is it iron play or is it putting? What matters more to you?
I think that, my biggest strength always is my iron play. That gives me a lot of opportunities. And like I said, I play pretty aggressively, so we're going to fire in a lot of those flags and see if we can make some birdies. But you know what? Really, it all blends in there together. You got to drive it in the fairway, get some control going into those greens, and then you got to make the putt. So, I wish I could say it was just one aspect, but you got to be pretty sharp. And as I look back at the year, it was a really solid year, from the get-go all the way through. So I felt pretty consistent out there, and pretty pleased with how I played.
You've made it to the Tour Championship in 2 of the last 3 seasons. Masterclass display of consistency. When you're at home, do you spend more time playing golf or practicing?
I like to play a lot. The club that I play at, Mira Vista, has the 12:30 scratch game. I like to go out with all the members here. So, I would say most days I'm home practicing. I'll get to the golf course at 9 to 10 o'clock, somewhere in there, practice for a couple hours, and then get on the golf course and go play 18 holes. I just find that if I'm on the range that maybe not quite as focused, and I like to get on the golf course and hitting specific numbers, the golf shots, and seeing where your game's at.
Once again, we have PGA Tour winner Tom Hoge on the line with us. Tom, you played some golf in the fall this time last year, a little on the DP World Tour as well. How many tournaments do you feel you need to play in the fall to be ready to roll for the marquee spring season?
Yeah, to me, it's not really a whole lot about trying to stay sharp or anything. I feel like I'll play enough to kind of be there. And, last year took a little bit of time off. So I got in November, year back up for January. But, I've taken a few weeks off here. I was inducted in the TCU Hall of Fame this week, so I couldn't play this week. But I am looking forward to getting back out here in Vegas. I'm going to play Vegas, Japan, and then Cabo. 3 more events here this fall to finish it off. And, I love to compete and I love to play golf, so I'm excited to get back out there.
You mentioned the TCU Athletic Hall of Fame. You joined J.J. Henry, Dan Jenkins, Angela Stanford, Charles Cootie. It's a special golf community there in Fort Worth. What was that night like, and how did TCU help your development during your college days?
Yeah, first of all, it was a cool weekend here, a number of events for us, and like you said, the TCU golf community, really strong, and some great talented players that I've looked up to that are in the TCU Hall of Fame. So to be included in that conversation is a great honor. And it was fun to be back there for a football game last night, even though the Houston Cougars took us down. But, I look back at TCU, and it's kind of what, the last month or so has been, with a lot of reflecting on what it took to get to this point and be included in this Hall of Fame. And, just a lot of great people that have helped me get to this point. And, certainly very happy with the decision I made going to TCU and the routes that I chose. And, so many great relationships have come from that have really helped me get to this point.
Well, Tom, congratulations. And yeah, we sure didn't expect our 1-4 Cougars to beat TCU last night. Painful loss for your Horned Frogs. Once again, we have PGA Tour winner Tom Hoge on the line with us here on ESPN 97.5. Tom, what was the most memorable call that you received after your first PGA Tour win at Pebble Beach?
Man, it's hard to think back that far, but I'd say it's more the personal relationships. The instructor I grew up working with, John Dahl, from back in Fargo, North Dakota. Kind of getting to share it with him just from the thousands of hours that we spent working to get to that point. And, I get asked, seems like every week in a pro-am, how does a guy from North Dakota make it to the tour? So, that was pretty special for both of us, I would say, to share that moment. And, just a lot of hard work that, you always thought it was possible to get to that point. And then, it took till my 8th year on the PGA Tour, so there was a lot of waiting for that moment, and it made it that much better.
You had a great week at Castle Pines, the BMW Championship toward the end of the season, finished 14th. I saw you spend some time at the Denver Broncos facility breaking the huddle with the great Sean Payton. What's some inspiration you've been able to pull from athletes of other sports over the years?
Yeah, I mean, more than anything, I'm a fan, and to be able to go inside and sit down with Coach Payton and kind of hear how he goes through things, with analytics and all the other variables that they're dealing with for practice. And as a football fan, it's a pretty cool afternoon just to get to hear all that. But I think anytime that you're around these great athletes, see the way that they work and prepare and get ready to compete, that it is inspiring for me that I better get my butt back out there. It's a lot easier doing it on the golf course than in the football field. But it's just awesome, the opportunities that we get to be able to travel around and see some pretty cool stuff. And like I said, to be there in the football practice field, go into the coach's office with Coach Payton, who broke down some film with us, like, that's pretty cool as a fan to get to do that.
Tom, we talked. Your first PGA Tour win, of course, came at the famed Pebble Beach. I mean, that's obviously one of the best golf courses on the schedule. What's one other tournament that maybe you grew up watching that you would just love to have a win at over your career?
That's a tough one. I mean, the Masters is obviously probably at the top of the list for pretty much every golfer. So I better go down the list a little bit further than that. But you know what? I watched the PGA Tour, it seemed like every week growing up, and I love all these events. Personally speaking, I love kind of the old school golf courses, the Riviera and the Colonials, those sort of golf courses. So I'd probably say one of those just because I enjoy playing that kind of classic old school golf course so much.
Tom, we appreciate you taking some time to join us this morning. Have a great rest of the TCU football season, and we look forward to seeing you here in a little bit in the fall, and of course in the prime spring season.
Yeah, absolutely. It should be fun to get back out there and kind of get things ramped back up again.
Once again, that is Tom Hoge, PGA Tour winner. We appreciate him taking some time to join us. Tom, we appreciate it so much. Have a great rest of your weekend. We continue here on the Charlie Epps Golf Hour. We have the great golf doctor with us here on the line. Charlie, great to have Tom Hoge on the program. It's your grandson Charlie Wiley's now playing at TCU. Tom was just inducted into TCU's Athletic Hall of Fame. What'd you think of the conversation, and what's your overall thoughts on the Fort Worth community and how you feel that's helping develop little Charlie?
Well, first of all, it was a great interview that you did with Tom, and I didn't know the fact that he is really quite a talent, and he's broken through and won, and it looks like he's going to have a long career and representing the TCU Horned Frogs and getting inducted into that Hall of Fame is quite an honor, and starting with Dan Jenkins. So it was quite a young man, and he really is good at preparing himself for golf, and he has one good thing he said. He said he loves golf.
That's it, Charlie. Now, how was your week? And you had a great foundation event there at the Charlie Epps Scholarship Tournament a couple Mondays ago there at Golf Club of Houston. I know that was just an incredible turnout.
Yes, we had fivesomes. We had 27 golf pros from all over South Texas joining in and playing with the amateurs that gave their hard-earned money so that we could disperse it and give it to the kids of Houston that play in the Houston Golf Association golf program, and they really reward themselves with hard work, and I'm really proud to be able to help them and share the money across the board to the boys and girls of the Houston Golf Association and kids of Houston.
That's great work there, Charlie. And next segment, of course, we're going to review the President's Cup. I'm looking forward to getting your thoughts from that. It's interesting to look at the PGA Tour leaderboard this week, Charlie. You have guys. We're going to hear some audio from Gary Woodland later on. What a comeback story there. You've got Daniel Berger at the top of the leaderboard for the first time in a while. You've been working with your student Angel Cabrera for a long time. For someone like Daniel Berger, who's won 4 times on the PGA Tour, but he's coming off a shoulder injury that took him off the golf course for over 2 years. How tough is it to kind of draw back on some of those winning memories if you're in the shoes of Daniel Berger or even an Angel Cabrera who has been contending on the Champions Tour but still looking for that first comeback win?
Well, golf is a game of emotion, and when you get excited to play and you get excited to, through the memories of winning, it doesn't take too much to get that momentum going and getting on the first tee and remembering what it is like to win a golf tournament is really. I've never done that. But I've been around a lot of guys that have, and it feeds on itself. And these young guys are really, because of the game of golf has grown so much for the just in the money aspect of it, you can make a good living and enjoy the finer points of a sport that's really fun to play, and to really make your living off of hitting a little golf ball is really kind of unbelievable.
All right, hey, great work. I'm really looking forward to watching Berger try to get his 5th PGA Tour win this weekend. And Charlie, hang on with us for 1 second. We have to go to break. We're going to be back here in just a couple minutes. But first, a word for business owners. Listen, business owners, have you ever felt like the walls are closing in, that the obstacles to growing your business are overwhelming? We all know running a business comes with pressure, remote workforces, HR compliance, keeping your top employees happy. There's no wonder you start to feel boxed in, but you don't have to do it alone. Fortunately, there's Insperity. They put 30 plus years of experience to work helping you and your human resources, from hiring and training to HR, admin, and compliance. Add in competitive benefit options for your employees, and you've expanded your HR capabilities. With Insperity lightening your HR load, you can focus on growing your business surrounded by employees who are empowered to be their best. Don't let the obstacles keep you from realizing your full potential. Get the relief you need from an HR company that puts you and your employees on a path to success, because with Insperity, nothing seems impossible. All right, after this break, we're going to review the President's Cup. We'll get into a couple of these leaderboards you're watching right now. We'll get a couple teaching questions in for the golf doctor himself. This is the Charlie Epps Golf Hour presented by Insperity. Back after this.
The Charlie Epps Golf Hour, powered by Insperity, continues
on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
from the Veritex Community Bank Studios. Here's Will Doctor and Charlie Epps.
And in case you missed our interview with PGA Tour winner Tom Hoge in the first segment, you can find that on Apple Podcasts and Spotify at the conclusion of the show at Charlie Epps Golf Hour. Absolutely loved our conversation with Tom Hoge. Absolute class champion, got his PGA Tour win at Pebble Beach 2 years ago. He's qualified for the Tour Championship 2 of the last 3 seasons. And, I think here over the next 2 years, when you look into the crystal ball, I think you absolutely see Tom Hoge get another win or two over the next 2 years. I think he can absolutely be a major championship contender when you look at the next couple of seasons. And, we certainly understand here on the show, it is football season, and, there is a lot it's not prime golf season here in the fall, but so many leaderboards to keep an eye on this weekend. I mean, you've got the DP World Tour playing at 3 of the most famous golf courses in the world, in Carnoustie and Kingsbarns and St. Andrews. Charlie, did Angel ever play the Alfred Dunhill Links? That's got to be a pretty special Pro-Am week.
Oh, sure. All of the good golf pros played at St. Andrews, and they loved that tournament when that came about, about 25 years ago. And it's a Pro-Am, and you get to play with you get to meet very important people. Then you get to take your sponsors to play in it. And it's at the home of golf. And it can be a little dicey with the weather this time of the year. The weather's starting to turn. I'm up here in North Dakota, and we're getting ready to have a couple of big windstorms. So the cold is coming down there to Houston. They'll probably be there in about 2 more weeks.
I'm looking forward to it. And funny, our first segment guest, Tom Hoge, is actually from North Dakota, I believe the Fargo area. But yeah, excellent golf that's on live right now on Golf Channel is the Alfred Dunhill Links Championship. You have the Korn Ferry Tour Championship that's going to be on Golf Channel later today from French Lick up in Indiana. What you have to understand with the Korn Ferry Tour Championship is that jobs are on the line. There is guys out there fighting for their jobs. We heard from Sam Bennett earlier in the week. This is a kind of a make or break season for him. He'd love to get into that top 30 and get his PGA Tour card this week. Same with Cole Hammer. Aldrich Pottinger is another great story on the Korn Ferry Tour this week. His career was over 2 years ago, had no more money left for golf, and Barstool Riggs stepped in and gave him a $50,000 check to keep his career going. And here, about a year and a half later, he's going to have a chance to finish the top 30 on the Korn Ferry Tour after this week and punch his ticket to the PGA Tour. When you think about Q School and the Korn Ferry Tour Championship, when you think about nerves in the game of golf, are those tournaments kind of an all-time high when it comes to nerves?
I would say, certain guys handle this time of the year different than others. And yes, it's hard playing for your paycheck in the autumn of the year and get ready for next spring. So, because there's not that many spots available. There's probably 1,000 guys close to that worldwide that want to play the PGA Tour that are capable of winning on the tour. So these guys, they put everything aside, and it's going to be interesting to see who comes out at the end on top. I mean, it's interesting to see Lucas Glover's name playing at this time of the year.
Yep, there at the
last
Sanderson.
Year, he played and won a couple of times, and he resurrected his putting game. And so there's a lot of good guys, and the great story of Gary Woodland. Here's a kid that had a brain operation, and he's back at it. So there's a lot of great stories that are going on, at the golf course that people aren't really aware of.
Yeah, no. As far as the Korn Ferry Tour action, you were spot on, Charlie. That is That is a quick turnaround for qualifiers. If you finish top 30 on the KFT this week and punch your ticket to the PGA Tour, your season starts next week at the Black Desert Classic. So most of these guys have played every week the last 4 months. If you qualify for the PGA Tour, if you're one of those lucky 30 names, your season pretty much starts back up next week. And yeah, of course, for the Sanderson Farms Championship, I mean, Lucas Glover with his ball striking and Gary Woodland with his comeback mentality. I'm fired up to watch the action at the Country Club of Jackson this weekend. Joey, what's your thoughts on a little bit of the President's Cup review? The United States beat the Internationals 18.5 to 11.5. United States dominated day one with the sweep. The International swept day two, which made it a very interesting story going into the weekend. But from there, the tournament really was absolutely dominated by the United States. They took 3 of 4 matches in the Saturday morning four balls. The United States took 3 of 4 matches in the Saturday afternoon foursomes. And then on Sunday, the United States took 7.5 points to get the victory. How did you think things turned out there at Royal Montreal, Charlie?
Well, I marveled at the quality of golf. I mean, this tournament of match play, it brought out a lot of games that were so fun to watch because of match play. And these kids, the only disappointing factor about the golf course, which was excellent, the greens were too soft. If they'd had firm greens, we'd have seen a different type of golf.
Wow.
But long overdue is the President's Cup is getting its due. It brings, the good guys together and they play, and match play is so much fun to watch.
No doubt. Charlie, we saw this week at the Alfred Dunhill Links Championship that PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan and the PIF Governor Yasser Al-Rumayyan, they were paired together in the same pro-am group alongside Rory McIlroy and Billy Horschel, and they seemed like they were having a good time and hugging it out and saying that good things are around the corner. How do you feel about seeing some good camaraderie between Al Ramayan and Monahan, but at the same time, it was a little frustrating to see some names like Joaquin Neiman and Cam Smith and Bryson DeChambeau not playing in the President's Cup last week?
Well, yes, and that, when you get so many great golfers, it's so popular game with a lot of good athletes now. You're seeing so many guys get good real quick because of college golf.
Yeah.
And then, you got to have more places for these guys to play. And so hopefully the PGA Tour can put together a deal that benefits golf first, and the players will have another place to play, because it's so much fun to watch them play over at St. Andrews in different parts of the world. So hopefully we'll get this thing done really quick.
No doubt, Charlie. I mean, and you're right. Mike Weir had his hands full with trying to pick that roster, and I think he did as far as pairings and the way he went about the week. I thought Mike Weir did a fantastic job, but having to leave guys like Johnny Vegas, who just won the 3M Open and has played in the President's Cup before. I was shocked to not see him at the President's Cup, and Nick Taylor, who we've talked about over the last couple of weeks, Canadian Open and Phoenix Open winner. Amazing to not see him qualify for the President's Cup. But I think golf's going to start developing more opportunity, possibly in that format. I think the President's Cup stays, every 2 years as well as the Ryder Cup. But no doubt, 18.5 to 11.5, the United States was dominant. Charlie, I think a lot of listeners want to know your thoughts on what happened there on the 7th hole on Saturday with Tom Kim. And in case you missed it, let me break it down to you. On Saturday, Tom Kim laid his putter on the ground after making his par putt on the seventh hole. Kim and Siwoo Kim were playing Xander Schauffele and Patrick Cantlay. Tom Kim hit his first putt to 2 feet 7 inches, marked it, and then made that for par. And then after he made the par putt, he laid the putter down I think signaling that he thought it was inside grip length, and he thought it was a putt that should have been given to him. What did you think, Charlie?
Well, I thought it was great. I thought it was a part of the game. In match play is versus mental play. You don't have to finish the hole. Your opponent can say, "Okay, that putt is good," because it's 99% of the time these pros are going to make it. And then the guys are playing games back and forth, trying to get in everybody's head. And young Tom, he's got a lot to learn about the game of golf. He's really good, but he's the one that runs around the greens looking and acting like an idiot, and the game isn't even over. I can see maybe on the 18th hole getting excited, but back on the 7th hole, there's so much more golf to play, and when you start acting that in a way that's not really class, and that's what golf's all about. You're going to, take your time and respect everybody else's game, and not act like an idiot running around with your head cut off. So I think Tom is at fault at this point in time of his career. He's got to settle down and respect his other players, his opponents, before he does anything.
And when you look at some of the other players, you look at a pairing like Xander Schauffele and Patrick Cantlay. Those are two guys that don't show a lot of emotion in week to week PGA Tour events. They channel the same kind of energy in the President's Cup. How important is it when you get in that kind of atmosphere, Charlie, to kind of stay true to the way that you're normally functioning and reacting on the golf course?
Well, you got to respect everybody's time and place in the game, and not act not professionally. Although today's sport, we're getting a lot of, from the basketball courts, baseball, the people are celebrating. But, look at me. It's not that way. I mean, if you win the tournament, you can celebrate, but not halfway in the game. You gotta respect everybody's time and not act like an idiot.
Great work there, Charlie. We have you for one more segment, so stick around. We got to take a quick break, but we have listener questions on the other side. Before we go to break, a quick word from my friends at Remind Support. Hi, this is Will Doctor, and if you're struggling with depression or bipolar disorder, Remind Support offers free, confidential, and safe support groups in the Houston area for those living with an illness that has devastated millions worldwide. Whether you are someone that prefers virtual medicine or someone that prefers face-to-face interaction, Remind accommodates either option. Groups meet online or at a location around the area with a licensed mental health professional leading the way. These groups are filled with comfort, hope, and social support with peers. There's no cost to attend, and finding your class is simple. Visit remindsupport.org and type in your zip code to find a location near you, or sign up for an online class at a day and time that is most convenient. No one should have to suffer in their mental health alone, but with Remind, free support is here for you. Once again, that is www.remindsupport.org, www.remindsupport.org.
This is the Charlie Epps Golf Hour on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
Powered by Insperity.
Now from the Veritex Community Bank Studios, here's Will Doctor and the golf doctor himself, Charlie Epps.
Absolutely sensational golf tournament going on Golf Channel right now. You can watch Rory McIlroy, Tommy Fleetwood, Brooks Koepka, John Rahm play the Alfred Dunhill Links Championship. Just saw Rory McIlroy hook a driver into the dunes on 12 at St. Andrews. He's currently 13 under. Going to have a chance to win going into the weekend. Let's get some teaching questions in here for the golf doctor. This is Eric in Cyprus. Charlie, where does a pull come from with the driver and irons? I've had it going left for about a week now. What's the fix?
Well, you're basically in golf, if you say you draw a straight line from the golf ball to your target, say the flag, and now the left side of the line is what we call the pull side, and what that means is as you hit a shot, you set yourself up, you get your visualization going, and then decide that you want the ball to go left to right or right to left. A pull shot usually happens because the club face is closed at impact. So the ball will start left of your target line. So you've got to really be careful with your grip to make sure it's on correctly, your hands are on the club correctly, you got the right grip pressure. So at impact, the club face does not all of a sudden start pointing to the left and the ball starts left of your target, and that's what you call a pull.
And Charlie, can the golfer identify if his face is closed at impact, or do you see the face close a little too much in the transition?
Well, sure, that happens because, my good friend Jimmy Burke from Champions many, many years ago said golf is nothing but a grip test, meaning that how you place your hands on the club prior to starting your swing is so important because you got to make sure that club face is pointing the direction you want the ball to start, and then you grip it. So always make sure that as you put your hands on the club, you're looking at the club face to make sure that it's square and it's being able to set the club behind the ball and get the ball started the direction you want the ball to start. That's so important. It's all a relationship between your hands and the swing in the club.
We see world number one Scotty Scheffler warm up before every round with a grip trainer. Charlie, it's amazing. Someone of that caliber is so locked into the fundamentals of just the grip before every round.
Yeah, and that's a great example of a person that has been trained by a PGA golf professional, and they know the fundamentals. They know how to get the hands on the club correctly. They know how to have the fit their hands, and that's one thing that as we go into the off season that our listeners must do is change your grips. Ask your your loved ones to give you a set of grips for Christmas, and you start anew when the spring comes. That way, the grip is so important. You can't play with old grips. You got to get new set of grips to get your hands on the club correctly, in size and also the amount of the size of the grip is so important. Make sure that they fit your hands, and the golf pro will tell you how to do that.
Yeah, I heard John Daly do an interview a few weeks ago, Charlie, and he's got the jumbo grips on there, the mid-size with a couple wraps under them. Yeah, Tiger Woods, historically use very skinny grips. Is that something the local PGA pro can evaluate grip size and hand size and what what size they should be using as far as grips?
Oh, yes. They can analyze and get that handprint and decide if it's going to be a standard grip, a little oversized, a little undersized, and that'll make a whole lot of difference in the quality of your golf shots.
Yeah, go visit your local PGA pro this offseason, Charlie Epps, and of course, Charlie mentioned Scheffler's coach Randy Smith. I was so pleased to hear that Gary Woodland, who is at the top of the leaderboard at the Sanderson Farms, he's working with Randy Smith as well. The two of them have been putting in a lot of work over the offseason, and we'll hear some quotes from Woodland a little bit later on. Let's get to question 2. This comes from Pat and Conroe. Charlie, I'm out in Jacksonville this week watching the Furyk and Friends Champions Tour event. I saw Freddie Couples has 6 hybrids in the bag. Should I do the same?
That's very observant. Well, here's why Freddie's doing it, and Freddie's getting up in the years, and with the way the golf balls have been made and his swing speed, it's hard to get the long irons up in the air like he once did. So now the hybrids are designed to do that, and so you get a 30-degree hybrid or 22-degree hybrid. That'll get those long irons out of your bag, and the game will become quite a bit easier using these new hybrid golf clubs to get the golf balls up in the air with less effort.
Charlie, you've added a couple hybrids to your bag as well, haven't you?
Oh, sure. I love the new equipment, and I got a 30-degree ping hybrid, and I got a 26. And usually, you get 3 to 4 degrees between each club, so that the distance varies between, say 10 to 15 yards. So it's the game is easier in that respect.
Charlie, there's great work on the question. There's some audio I want you to hear, and I think this is a player that people absolutely need to watch heading into the weekend. It's a U.S. Open champion and Gary Woodland. We talked about him a little bit early on. He's coming off his first full season back after a life-threatening brain injury that he's thankfully recovered from. He did say this week that he felt like he came back a little bit too early in 2024. Let's hear a little bit more on what Woodland had to say about his comeback over the last year.
Yeah, a lot. I mean, I've been working hard with Randy Smith in Dallas and at home, but it's just all coming together. I've been over a year now from surgery, starting to feel a lot better, which helps. That helps everything, helps practice, helps you live life better. And I'm starting to see the results. I mean, that's the big deal. I probably pushed it a little came out too early this year, but it is what it is, right? I learned a lot. I've learned a lot about myself, and I'm very happy and thankful to be here.
Was there a point where you noticed where you were starting to feel stronger, a lot better?
Yeah, it's been the last couple. It's been recent. There's just been a change in the last couple of weeks. I just starting to feel more like myself again, and I see it. I'm happier. I feel better. I've been able to be less stimulation. I can be around my kids when they're going nuts now. Like everything's just starting to get back, which is it's beautiful.
Charlie, I mean, what a champion. You've gotten to know him a little bit over the years. I mean, what can you tell the listener about what they can learn from U.S. Open champion Gary Woodland?
Well, he's an incredible person to start with, and his demeanor, and before he had the brain problem, he was just a good old lazy, not lazy, but he took life a little easier and didn't get too upset, and evidently his brain malfunctioned. I'm not sure exactly what happened to him, but they operated, and it's taken a year to recover, and now he's getting back to being his old self. He's always laughing and carefree and enjoying life, and I'm really happy for him. And just like you said, he can now really be around his kids when his kids are acting like kids, yelling and screaming and driving you crazy. But the operation seems to really been a good one, and he's on the road to good recovery, and he probably win pretty soon.
Charlie, you've been able to spend some time around your grandson, Charlie Wiley, this fall, and he's a freshman at TCU. And an absolute superstar on the golf team as a freshman. You've been to a couple tournaments so far this season. You know, how has it been for you to see, the level of college golf being played, and what have been some of your takeaways from those tournaments?
Oh, the level is incredible. I mean, each university that they go to play, there's probably 24, 25 universities with 5-man teams. Every team has 5 great golfers, and probably every team is going to produce a PGA Tour player.
Yeah.
It's in because of the good instruction, because of the kids now want to be good. They see the recognition you get as far as the player is concerned, and then that leads to good business, and the businessmen, they respect the good golfers. They know they have a mentality that will lend itself to helping them in the business world. So it's a great environment, and I can't tell you how good these kids are. Man, oh man, they can really play golf.
That's incredible stuff there, Charlie. And we sure do appreciate you gracing your presence. I know you and Miss Epps are going through a tough loss up there in North Dakota. Have a great rest of the weekend. Please get back safe and safe travels. We look forward to seeing you back in studio here very soon.
Well, it's always fun talking golf with you, and you're doing such a great job, and you got the Spirit coming up. So yes, we'll get back to Houston, and we'll keep having a lot of fun together. I appreciate you.
That's the golf doctor himself, Charlie Epps. Will be back in studio with us next Saturday. Thank you very much, Charlie. And yeah, as you said, the Spirit International Amateur Golf Championship is right around the corner. And if that's a tournament that you're unfamiliar with, this is the greatest amateur golf championship in the world. It's played at Whispering Pines Golf Club, November 12th through the 16th of 2024. Incredible talents like Tommy Morrison from Texas, who will represent the United States. Christian Moss from he's playing at Texas. He'll represent South Africa. Adela Cernasek, one of the best amateur women in the world, number 1 in France, number 8 in in the world. She'll be representing France at the Spirit. So visit the spiritgolf.com. Find out how you can get involved and come out and watch the amazing golf at Whispering Pines, November 12th through the 16th. That's a phenomenal fall event that really rivals, and is part of just an incredible amateur golf schedule. The best college kids in the country come and play the Spirit at Whispering Pines. On the other side, we'll get to a couple of your calls, break down some leaderboards here on the Charlie Epps Golf Hour, presented by Insperity, HR that makes a difference.
You're listening to the Charlie Epps Golf Hour on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
Powered by Insperity.
From the Veritex Community Bank Studios, here's Will Doctor and the Golf Doctor himself, Charlie Epps.
Oh, yes. One more to go here on a Saturday morning. 713-780-3776 is the number to get in here with your questions and questions regarding picks for the weekend, questions regarding the game of golf. Tim in Auburn, you're on ESPN 97.5 Houston. What's on your mind, Tim?
Doc, what's going on?
Timmy! Here we go now. What a Saturday morning.
What a Saturday morning, and I have a lot of golf on my mind.
So much to do, Tim. 3 tournaments, PGA Tour at Sanderson Farms, Alfred Dunhill Links Championship on the DP World Tour, which is live right now. The KFT Championship, 3rd round is going to be underway a little bit later on Golf Channel. What do you got going for us, Tim?
Well, we'll start, do a little recap of the President's Cup. What a President's Cup that was. We had a little bit of drama between captains. We had drama between players, especially with Tom Kim and his complaining of players cursing. And then on top of that, he is begging and gets upset that Team USA doesn't give him a 2.5 footer that was no gimme by any stretch of the means. Lays the putter down to try to convince. It's like you spent all that time. You could have just already made the putt and been walking on to the next hole.
Tim, I can't agree with you more. I mean, we heard from Charlie Epps earlier in the show. I think he loved the pop and sizzle of Tom Kim and the camaraderie that brought. I think there was a couple Twitter talking heads that want to see Tom Kim become, the international's Ian Poulter. But I did see a couple issues with it. I mean, number one, the putt wasn't good. 2 feet 7 inches is not good. It's not good on the President's Cup. It's not good in your local money game. And then, for Tom Kim after that to lose his next 2 matches, I mean, that was sad to see. And I thought the emotions got away from him a little bit. That's the President's Cup. Tim, are you in your local money game? Are you someone that's giving a 2 foot 7 inch putt with a little bit of cash on the line?
Oh, absolutely not. No way.
Me neither, Timmy.
Not. You got to line that putt up. You got to take your practice strokes and you got to step up to the pole and make the putt. And it's not more complicated than that. Just get up and do it. And I think, you'd see a guy like you see Tom Kim complain. You would never see a guy like Billy Horschel, who, just complaining over. He's automatic money. The reason Tom Kim, I believe, was upset was because he wasn't 100% sure he was going to make that putt and wanted to act like it's good and move on. When in reality, he might have had a thought in the back of his head that it might not be good. And if anybody who plays golf knows those 2.5, 3 footers, and if they're a little tricky, right edge, left edge cup, then they're no gimmies. Like as we saw with Rory at the U.S. Open, that should have, by Tom Kim's standards, then Rory, that putt that he missed on 18 at the U.S. Open, that should have been good, right?
Tim, there's a lot of guys on the PGA Tour, great putters. Look at Jordan Spieth. His numbers between 3 to 5 feet putting this year on the PGA Tour. He was amongst dead last on the PGA Tour in that stat category. Those 3 to 5 foot putts amongst the hardest in golf. And I absolutely thought, as far as the cursing with Tom Kim and his press conference after, and he thought there was some American players cursing at him. I talked to a couple riders who were walking with that group. They didn't hear any cursing from the players. So I'm not sure what he was hearing there, but I would give Jim Furyk an A+. I would give Mike Weir probably a B-, Tim. I thought Mike Weir did an excellent job the week of the President's Cup. with the pairings, and I thought he did his best with what he had. I definitely thought Joaquin Neiman, Cam Smith, Jonathan Vegas, and Nick Taylor should have been on that roster. I think they could have been excellent reinforcements for that international shield. That's number one with President's Cup. As far as pro golf this week, Tim, I know you got a couple things on your mind there.
Oh yeah, so we'll start with the Sanderson, and so we have a weekend of, I believe it's going to be a little bit of a birdie fest and a little sprinkle of chaos on top of it. There's a couple of guys. So you have Hostler and Bridgman on top of the leaderboard, but let's go over some guys that could come out of nowhere on Saturday and make a run this weekend. And the guy that I absolutely love is Patrick Fishburne. He is in great position. He's doesn't have the pressure of having the lead, playing with the lead, which, as we all have seen over the past couple of months, is harder to play with a couple of shot lead than to be a shot or two and having to be aggressive and, not having to back in the mind, oh, I'm not going to blow this tournament.
Fishburne 7 back right now and a tied for 33rd. New play, a rookie on the PGA. I'm sorry, second year PGA Tour player this year, 32 years old. Tim, you're right. He's done some very impressive things his last 4 events. I mean, 3rd at the Barracuda, 6th at the 3M, 3rd at the Procore. This is a guy you've got to like a lot rolling into the weekend, especially with how nuclear he can get with the putter. I think he can go ahead and chase down a 7-shot lead going into the weekend.
Oh, especially. And when you take a look at his numbers, a number that stands out, which is, it's hard to believe, is that Patrick Fishburne is first on the PGA Tour and 3rd round scoring average.
Wow.
That's up very perfect on moving day. First at a little over 67 and some change, 3rd round scoring average on the season, which I find to be a big indicator that he can make a move. If it was only a month or 2 or 3 in the season, I'd be like, well, there hasn't been enough tournament play, but this is through a whole season of work. So obviously he knows how to bring his game on the weekend, and that's what we love to see. Any golfer that's able to.
Tim, you're exactly right. I mean, since April, Fishburne has just he's been on his game. I mean, started with 23rd at Corrales, and like I said, here over the last 5 events, I mean, getting into that top 5 and actually contending, he's absolutely going to have a chance to go run down Daniel Berger and Keith Mitchell and Michael Thorbjornsen over the weekend. Tim, I got to let you go. We only have 1 minute left. Great to get your contribution. Look forward to hearing from you soon. As far as this DP World Tour leaderboard, I like Fishburne for a pick over the weekend as far as the PGA Tour. I also think Gary Woodland sitting at 3 back is going to have an excellent chance to win. You've got Lucas Glover there at 12 under as well. As far as the DP World Tour and what you have going on right now, that's live on Golf Channel. Tyrrell Hatton is 9 under through 16 at 20 under, 1 shot back. I think he's going to be tough to deny. Obviously, a live guy. Just took the lead, actually, at 21 under. He's now 10 under through 17, just birdied 17. But you've got John Rahm there. You got Brooks Koepka there. You're going to have a chance to win over the weekend. I do think it's going to come down to Tyrrell Hatton and John Rahm. I think John Rahm's had a couple painful finishes here over the last couple months. The Olympics at the Spaniard Open last week, finished second to Angel Hidalgo. I got to go with Hatton or Rahm for my weekend pick for the action on the DP World Tour. Thanks for hanging with us this morning on the Charlie Epps Golf Hour. Great to have Tom Hoagie on first segment. We'll catch up next Saturday here on the Charlie Epps Golf Hour on ESPN 97.5, presented by Insperity, HR that makes a difference.